Ladies and gentlemen, we have just had the traditional friendly and sincere talks with the Minister of External Affairs of India, Mr. Subramanyam Jaishankar. The talks were very substantial and useful. Russia and India share close historical links which are characterized by mutual respect, the self-sufficiency, sustainability to any geopolitical volatility. And today we were united in our opinion that strengthening the Russian-Indian special privileged strategic partnership is in favor of our people, and it contributes to the regional and international security and stability. We were satisfied to note, therefore, the regular and intensive nature of the political dialogue between our countries at the highest level and at the levels of ministries of foreign affairs. We welcomed the positive dynamics of the bilateral trade. By September, our trade volume has increased year to year by over 130%, almost reaching the point of $17 billion. We believe that the goal set forward by our leadership to increase the trade volume to $30 billion will soon be achieved. We were sharing the belief that the key area of trade and economic and investment cooperation, as well as cooperation in the area of logistics and transportation and high tech, is the Intergovernmental Russian-Indian Commission on Trade and Economic, Scientific and Technological Cooperation. And today, the distinguished minister had a meeting with his counterpart, with his colleague, the Deputy Prime Minister of Russia, Denis Manturov, who is a co-chair of the Commission. And according to distinguished minister, they had very fruitful talks with him. We also had a detailed discussion of the current state and the prospects of the talks currently taking place regarding the matter of launching an international north-south transportation corridor, as well as a number of other areas which are directly linked with logistics in our common region. We see good prospects of cooperation in the area of energy, including the increase of the hydrocarbon exports from
БРИКС, Шанхайскую организацию сотрудничества, группу 20. Большое внимание уделили положению дел в Афганистане и в целом в регионе Ближнего Востока и Севера Африки. Со своей стороны мы подтвердили высокую оценку позиции индийских друзей по ситуации на Украине и вокруг нее. Я проинформировал господина министра о ходе специальной военной операции, направленной на достижение тех задач, которые были поставлены президентом России.
The further steps in this area, including the provision of a new platform for a Russian-designed nuclear power plant in the future, would allow India to receive access to clean and safe energy. We had a detailed discussion of the prospects of military and technical cooperation, including the joint production of modern types of weaponry. We attach great importance to the exploration of outer space in such areas as satellite navigation, the spatial science, as well as pilot in flight programs. We took note of the importance of the active negotiations on the free trade area between the Eurasian Economic Union and India. We highly appreciate the cooperation between Russia and India on the world arena, including our cooperation within the United Nations and other multilateral platforms, including BRICS, the SCO, the G20. We attach great importance to the state of affairs in Afghanistan and overall in the region of the Middle East and Northern Africa.
I also met Deputy Prime Minister Denis Manturov,
the high appreciation of the Indian friend's position on the situation in and around Ukraine. I have informed the distinguished minister on the current state of the special military operation, which is aimed at achieving the goals which had been set forward by the President of the Russian Federation.
I will give you both a readout
in
of
his
what we
speech
discussed, as well
made on the
as
23rd
some
of,
issues
or
which
rather
I think we will
23rd
be,
of February this
forward,
year, and we also discussed the
immediately after this
situation
press
which
conference.
is currently taking place around
Now,
the attempts of our Western
before
colleagues
I come to that,
to use the pretext of the Ukrainian events to strengthen
the context
their
for this
own
visit.
domination in the global affairs,
Normally, that would
in order
not be
not
necessary,
to allow
but these
more
are
democratic
unusual
processes
times.
in the international relations.
Let me begin by
I believe
emphasizing
that the
that
talks
India
were
and
quite
Russia
useful for
have a
us, and they
long-standing
have confirmed
partnership
our mutual
that has
aspiration
served
to strengthen
both
our
countries
cooperation in
very
all
well over many decades. This covers a range of practical cooperation in fields like trade, investment, energy, commodities, etc., as well as sensitive domains like defense, space, and nuclear. My objective in coming here today is to sit down with my Russian counterparts, Minister Lavrov and Deputy PM Manturov, and assess how we are doing. There are clearly challenges that we need to address, as well as prospects that we are exploring. For this stock-taking exercise, I am accompanied by senior officials from the Indian Ministries of Agriculture and Farmers' Welfare, Petroleum and Natural Gas, Ports, Shipping and Waterways, Finance, Chemicals and Fertilizers, as well as Commerce and Industry. In the last few years, we, India and Russia, we have grappled with how to expand our bilateral trade and introduce more factors of long-term stability and growth. Some of these discussions are now yielding results, accelerated by the stresses that the global economy is currently experiencing, including as a result of the Ukraine conflict. Minister Lavrov and I have noted the significant growth in our bilateral trade this year and focused on how to make it more sustainable. We are naturally concerned at the trade imbalance and have raised with the Russian side how to address impediments that stand in the way of greater Indian exports. We reviewed the progress of our space and nuclear programs. It is also essential that our time-tested defense relationship continues to perform smoothly. Notably, our energy and fertilizer cooperation has been strengthening, and our achievements of the last few years have become a foundation to do more. Foreign Minister Lavrov, of course, has spoken about some of these issues in his remarks. We discussed ways to expand and diversify our cooperation, moving beyond traditional areas. Promotion of inter-regional cooperation has been a key priority for us, particularly with the Russian Far East. We also discussed enhancing connectivity, including through the International North-South Transport Corridor, as well as the Chennai-Vladivostok Eastern Maritime Corridor. I updated Minister Lavrov and Deputy PM Manturov on India's flagship initiatives, including Atmanirbhar Bharat, that is self-reliant India, and Make in India, that can serve as platforms for a more contemporary economic relationship between our two countries. Now, it is natural that as foreign ministers, we exchange views on the international situation from our particular perspectives and vantage points. Obviously, the Ukraine conflict was a dominant feature, although we will continue to have discussions on it. Let me take this opportunity to lay out the Indian position on this matter. As Prime Minister Modi conveyed to President Putin in Samarkand in September, this is not an era of war. The global economy is simply too interdependent for a significant conflict anywhere not to have major consequences elsewhere. We are seeing growing concerns on energy and food security emanate from the conflict that are coming on top of severe stresses created by 2 years of COVID. The global south, especially, is feeling this pain very acutely. India, therefore, strongly advocates a return to dialogue and diplomacy. We are clearly on the side of peace, respect for international law, and support for the UN Charter. Insofar as specific initiatives pertaining to issues like food grains and fertilizer shipments are concerned, or any other problem for that matter, India will be as helpful as we can be. Indeed, I would say that for any initiative that de-risks the global economy and stabilizes the global order at this stage, India will be supportive. From our side, I also shared with Mr. Lavrov the Indian reading of recent trends in the subcontinent. You're all aware that countries have experienced serious economic difficulties. There are other factors of instability as well. Terrorism, including its cross-border manifestation, remains a major concern. Where the Indo-Pacific is concerned, both our nations have stakes in its progress and prosperity. We, as partners, highly value the centrality of ASEAN to the larger regional architecture. From the viewpoint of our respective interests, we exchange views about how the goals of the international community are best served, including in securing the global commons. Our talks also addressed a number of regional issues. On Afghanistan, we discussed how to continue our support for the people of Afghanistan, even as we urge Taliban to fulfill its international commitments. We are both members of various formats where the Afghan-related issues come up for review, and we will continue to be in close touch. I hope to discuss, of course, in the coming session, the prospects of the Iranian JCPOA, because India believes that the way forward must be found in the interests of global peace, security, and non-proliferation. I also expect a wider exchange of assessments on the current situation in the Middle East, what we call West Asia, including matters pertaining to Syria and Palestine. India today has a wide range of interests and a growing footprint. Some of this is expressed in terms of our UN responsibilities, like the chair of the Libya Committee, some in our traditionally close partnerships with Africa, and now increasingly our deeper economic involvement with many regions. The world is moving towards greater multipolarity through steady and continuous rebalancing, and that especially means a multipolar Asia. As prominent nations who have a positive history of working together, this will naturally influence the conversations between Russia and India. Our two countries are members of the G20, the BRICS, and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, amongst others. How we work together in these formats is also on our agenda. You all know that India has assumed the chair of the SCO and will take over the presidency of the G20 in December. We strongly believe that the pressing concerns of the international community as a whole must be fully recognized and effectively addressed. The state of multilateralism, especially the working of the UN and its key organs, is today clearly wanting. Even as we focus on the immediate, the case for reformed multilateralism, including a reformed UN Security Council, is becoming difficult to deny. We welcome Russian support for India in that regard. In conclusion, let me say that we have had a morning of very open and productive exchanges. As I noted, we are still somewhat halfway through our discussions, but Minister Lavrov, allow me to thank you for your hospitality, for your welcome, and I'm confident that our talks will contribute to the further development of India-Russia cooperation.
Уважаемые коллеги, наступает время для ваших вопросов. Индийский телеканал ТВ-9. Прошу вас.
Здравствуйте, ministers. My question to Dr. Jaishankar. Minister, since you are accompanied by a large delegation of representatives from various ministries and departments, so do we take it as a signal that India's intent to continue or enhance cooperation with Russia in all spheres, despite all kinds of challenges and so-called threats?
You know, I'm accompanied by a large and senior delegation because we have a very substantial and time-tested relationship with Russia. As I explained in my remarks, in the last few years, under the guidance of our leaders, we have been trying to find ways of expanding this relationship, making it more durable, more sustainable, more balanced. So today, when I look back at the discussions both with Minister Lavrov and Deputy PM Manturov, we discussed areas where, there's a natural convergence of interests between India and Russia. And we do so, when we do so, we not only serve our national interests, we actually today, as major G20 economies, we are actually helping to stabilize the world economy as well. And at this time of great global volatility and uncertainty, I think this is a very good thing that we are doing. So I'm very glad that today's discussions helped us to move forward on many issues, and I felt that the Russian side had a similar sentiment.
Информационное агентство ТАСС, пожалуйста.
Добрый день, Лейла Тураянова, ТАСС. Мой вопрос обоим министрам. Ситуация в Афганистане продолжает вызывать тревогу как у Индии, так и у России. И основываясь на ваших сегодняшних дискуссиях, каким вы видите дальнейшее сотрудничество между Москвой и Нью-Дели по афганскому вопросу? И дополнение для вас, Сергей Викторович. В середине ноября планируется очередное заседание московского формата консультаций по Афганистану. И стало известно, что новые афганские власти не приглашены на эту встречу. Хотя, например, в прошлом году во встрече московского формата талибы принимали участие. Как бы вы могли это прокомментировать и пояснить, с чем связано такое решение? Спасибо.
Как мы уже сказали в наших вступительных словах, мы подробно обсудили ситуацию в Афганистане и те задачи, которые стоят перед международным сообществом, чтобы помочь афганскому народу стабилизировать ситуацию и прийти к общенациональному согласию о том, как дальше жить в их стране. Мы работаем с талибами, и по нашей линии наши индийские друзья также осуществляют необходимые шаги в этом направлении. Пока еще мы не достигли нашего желаемого результата, пока еще мы не увидели, что наши коллеги, которые сейчас являют собой власть в Кабуле, движутся достаточно быстро по тем направлениям, которые были объявлены в качестве их обязательств перед своим народом, особенно имею в виду необходимость все-таки консолидировать этнополитическое единство афганского народа и обеспечить инклюзивный этнополитический характер власти. Мы продолжаем эту работу, и одним из таких этапов будет очередное заседание московского формата. Оно состоится уже на следующей неделе. Индийские друзья будут на нем представлены, как и все остальные участники предыдущих мероприятий такого рода. У нас есть, как я уже сказал, регулярный контакт с представителями талибов. Они будут посвящены в то, чем будут заниматься участники встречи московского формата. И, конечно же, мы никаких секретов от представителей Афганистана не имеем. Мы подробно пробрифингуем и талибов, и другие политические силы, которые там существуют.
Let me add to that with 4 points. One, it's important that the world not forget what is the situation in Afghanistan. Because today, I think it's not getting the attention that it deserves. There is a humanitarian situation, and at least where India is concerned, we have stepped forward by providing food, providing medicines, providing vaccines, and trying to find ways by which the Afghan people are supported in a very difficult phase of their history. Secondly, the international community, with good reason, has concerns about terrorism and terrorists who operate out of Afghanistan. There have been commitments which have been given in this regard. It's legitimate that the international community, especially the neighbors, today work together to ensure that that there is no terrorism threat that comes out of Afghanistan. Third, the commitments which have been made in respect of Afghanistan are covered by a UN resolution, a Security Council resolution 2593. It is important that those obligations are kept. And finally, we discuss Afghanistan in various formats. It is part of the tradition of our relationship, India and Russia, that in some of these formats we have cooperated. So we look forward to being present here during the Moscow format as well.
Телеканал RT. Прошу вас.
Hello, Donald Corder, Russia Today. This question is for Minister Jaishankar. India, of course, has been facing pressure from the West for its relations with Russia. So I'd like to ask basically a three-pronged question. The first is, what do you see as the intent of the West, specifically the United States, in pressuring India for these relations? What stance will India take in the future towards Russia as a result of this pressure? And what does New Delhi think about the Western calls to establish a price cap on Russian oil exports?
I can say a lot about India-Russia relations. I think the fact that I'm here today with a delegation to review our cooperation, to see how we can take it forward, to create a long-term sustainable basis, I think says most of all. For us, Russia has been a steady and time-tested partner. And as I said, any objective evaluation of our relationship over many decades would confirm that it has actually served both our countries very, very well. So if it has served my country very, very well for many decades, I think you can see the obvious interest and commitment I would have in keeping that relationship strong and steady. As regards, the oil supply issue, first of all, there is a stress on the energy markets. Okay, this is a stress which has been created by a combination of factors, but as today the world's third largest consumer of oil and gas, a consumer where the levels of income are not very high, it is our fundamental obligation to ensure that the Indian consumer has the best possible access on the most advantageous terms to international markets. And in that respect, quite honestly, we have seen that the India-Russia relationship has worked to advantage. So if it works to my advantage, I would like to keep that going.
Thank you.
И заключительный вопрос, телеканал «Россия-24». Пожалуйста.
Да, здравствуйте. Вопрос Сергею Викторовичу. Можете ли вы рассказать, каковы, на ваш взгляд, приоритеты развития ШОС на данный момент? Это сфера безопасности или развитие экономического сотрудничества? И, если позволите, я дополню еще один вопрос на другую тему. Можете ли вы рассказать о том, как продвигается работа по расширению БРИКС? Есть ли какие-то сроки или, возможно, даты по вступлению новых стран, в частности, Алжира, Ирана, Аргентины? И какие отрасли или направления сможет усилить вступление этих стран? И, если позволите, может быть, вы сможете озвучить еще перечень государств, которые в обозримом будущем могут также претендовать на пополнение ряда участников. Спасибо.
Что касается Шанхайской организации сотрудничества, она является многоплановым форумом, занимается и вопросами безопасности, для решения которых она изначально создавалась, чтобы был порядок на границах между центральноазиатскими странами, Китайской Народной Республикой, Российской Федерацией. Эта задача была давно и успешно решена, и по мере эволюции Шанхайской организации сотрудничества она все больше внимания уделяла вопросам не только отражения и нейтрализации новых вызовов и угроз, таких как терроризм, экстремизм, сепаратизм, но и вопросам использования, если хотите, своих сравнительных преимуществ, будучи расположенной на огромном евразийском континенте, на большей части евразийского континента, конечно, страны-участницы ШОС заинтересованы в том, чтобы эти преимущества использовать при развитии своих экономических связей, расширении торговых потоков и создании дополнительной транспортной инфраструктуры, которая будет минимизировать издержки и, соответственно, повышать прибыль и быть выгодной для каждой из наших стран. Если вы добавите к этому еще перспективы использования, скажем, Северного морского пути, не только наземных маршрутов, то картина, перспективы, которые стоят перед ШОС, весьма впечатляющие. Кстати, мы с индийскими друзьями работаем на этом направлении, на использовании более эффективном Северного морского пути и тех месторождений, которые на шельфе Российской Федерации находятся в месторождении, имею в виду углеводородов. И, безусловно, я хотел бы отметить, что помимо сотрудничества в сфере обеспечения безопасности, стабильности в нашем общем регионе, развития экономических, инвестиционных связей, инфраструктурных проектов, в рамках ШОС развивается и культурно-гуманитарное взаимодействие, в том числе по линии политологических центров, по линии министерств культуры, обмены, выставки, гастроли. Все это весьма и весьма востребовано. Точно так же востребована и структура, которая называется БРИКС: Бразилия, Россия, Индия, Китай, Южная Африка. И интерес к этому глобальному объединению весьма и весьма высок, он продолжает расти. Вы упомянули некоторые страны, включая Алжир, Аргентину, Иран, которые проявляют интерес к этому объединению. На самом деле таких стран больше дюжины. И в июне этого года состоялся очередной саммит БРИКС в режиме онлайн под председательством Китайской Народной Республики. Помимо самого саммита, когда лидеры пятерки обсудили внутренние дела этого объединения и наметили планы на будущее в виде декларации, вслед за этим саммитом состоялся саммит в формате БРИКС+, в котором, если я сейчас не ошибаюсь, помимо БРИКСовской пятерки участвовали лидеры 13 государств. Список этот известен, он состоит из стран, которые представляют все без исключения развивающиеся регионы мира, и Азию, и Африку, и Латинскую Америку. И мы такой интерес, конечно же, приветствуем. Прежде чем говорить о том, как и когда конкретно начнется расширение ШОС, мы договорились в составе пятерки согласовать критерии и принципы рассмотрения такого рода обращений. Поскольку обращения поступают уже в официальном порядке, конечно, мы рассчитываем, что согласование критериев и принципов расширения БРИКС не займет слишком долгое время, но, конечно же, сначала необходимо понимать, как дальше это объединение будет развиваться в расширенном потенциальном составе.
Пресс-конференция окончена. Всем большое спасибо.
Thank you.